Oh, with my OBS. Guess I could check that. Let's have a look. Information. No, that's not what I want. Again, we have unloaded that. What does this say? I don't know. I'm going to have to investigate that sometime this week if I get a chance. So yes, I want fields. I want lots of fields. I want to buy lots of fields. I want to plant lots of stuff because that's going to give us the most opportunity to make money. As I get frustrated with the equipment we have, I am going to be, slowly replacing it. So the thing with the sprayer, we got the opportunity to buy a sprayer in the store, in the sale. I will probably add spot spray to it at some time, but not right away. And weed should not be a problem this year because we ploughed the fields. So that's a good thing. I will probably increase the boom length as well, but for right now it's good for what it is. It has a greater capacity than the sprayer kit we did have. So yeah, we'll be sticking with that for now, or we'll be expanding on that for now. As I said, the Series 7 is probably going to be a long-term tractor. The next one we want is bigger so that it gives us the opportunity to expand our equipment. We do not have a harvester. We will have 2 fields to harvest this year. So we are, we don't need one. We could bring in a harvest contractor to harvest our fields, and we can now deal with the stuff as it happens. We're able to do our own grass work, which is important because we have cows. Although I think I would like a new mower, just because that one's kind of small. And we do have quite a big grass field. Also, the field that the other grass field to the north of our farm is on our list of fields we would like to buy, and that's another big field, so our kit does take a while to cut that. We've got a big tedder. The windrower is a little on the small side, however I'm not really too fussed about our rake or windrower, basically because most of the hay we produce is contract hay, so I want something small that's capable of getting into the smaller fields. Our fields will probably just be doing silage on. Those do empty very quickly, so that's nice. Okay, so that's 5 more. Good. As I said, it would possibly be nice to get some form of lifter down at the bakery. And also, a skid steer at the farm because we're doing bales, and this thing's not the best for bales, which is why it's over here at the grain mill. Now the other building on this site is a what is that? That's a cereal factory, which cereal's quite good as well. But we need a lot more arable crops to justify buying the cereal factory. We're going to have to do sugar production, and we don't have that sort of thing set up. Although not scared of doing sugar production, we have done an awful lot of sugar beets in our last in our past series. So doing it again here, I just want to be in a better position with our finances and our growth and all the rest of it. And because I want a skid steer down at the farm, we still have the bale spike for a skid steer, because we were using it on this. Right now, this is probably going to stick to pallet forks only and never see any other attachment on the front. And that's number 7. And all done. So that's another month of flour transferred. We'll do the stuff, the milk next. Because we'll need to engine start, close the doors. I did start the engine, close the doors. Yeah, because we have to change the pod on the back. I have noticed the pods for this truck are a little bit glitchy, and the legs can fall into the floor. Typically, if I empty if I drop them close to a building wall that I'm not in, so I dropped the tank next to the cow shed and the manure pit, and if I put it too close to either one, it would fall into the floor. So that was less than ideal. I'm assuming in a shed they shouldn't have so much of an issue. We will see about that. Woo! Hello, everybody. Okay, that was a little unexpected. Moral of the story, don't cut your overtake too close to the car you're passing. Anyway, he should be gone by the time we catch up if we drive at sensible speeds, which I believe here is about 50 kilometers an hour. So yeah, I did change... A couple of weeks ago I changed the speedometer to showing kilometers rather than miles. I don't work in kilometers. I lived in the UK when it was miles all the time, and I've moved to America where it's always miles. Canada's kilometers, but hey, with COVID, and that's what gets me. It's the if you enter a AI vehicle's collision area, it stops. And so if you're planning Oh, he's going so fast, I'll just pass him and assume he's going to move at the same speed. No, you actually want to assume he's probably going to stop at the most inopportune moment. Alrighty, so here we are. Load that. So stuff I want from the... I would consider, not a wheel loader. We could go with a front loader. There's that one for 30,000. We could go with a forklift, which is there, and you're still looking at 30,000. Is that an electric one? Yeah, that's an electric one. Skid steer I want on the farm, or a telehandler. I think I'd prefer a skid steer at this point. So if a forklift comes up, or a front loader, or a telehandler, or anything like that, then we will probably buy it for here. But I'm not buying a new one. Ooh, gee. Let's try that turn again. I'm still considering a shed rearrangement in the yard, but again, fields more important than sheds, and equipment more important than sheds too. I got my eye on the field to the north of our farm, which we planted with wheat last year on a contract. I think we could make use of the wheat. And it'll give us a little bit more straw just in case we need it. Also, well, yeah, and also the other thing with buying a field with wheat in it, we'll be able to turn the wheat, or we have canola. If I plant sorghum and we have the wheat, that's 3/4 of pig food. And all we need to do is get sugar beets or potatoes, which we can produce in our little garden. So there could be the potential for breaking into pigs next year if we do everything right. But there's the big question about Maize Plus. Now I have heard there is a fairly strong suggestion you don't add Maize Plus if you're running feeding robots. We're running feeding robots on this map. Every single cow husbandry has a feeding robot. And it's said that the feeding robots can't keep up with the cow feed demands. However, these are not your basic feeding robot. These are super enhanced feeding robots that are capable of feeding 700 cows at a time. Which potentially means that we could run a farm of 70 cows and the feeding robot can keep up with that. There is a small field to the left. Yes, see, falls into the ground. And that time it didn't. Okay. So theoretically the cows can graze that field, although it may not be defined as such. I have heard from Disturbed Studios that Cavalier Roy is doing or does have a new release on this map, which he's not released to Giants yet. It's still in testing, but that does have that is Maize Plus ready. So potentially that will have grazing areas set up for each of the animal husbandries on the map. Okay, this thing I need to open the lid. There we go. And then load. Only takes 5,000, unfortunately, so it's gonna take a while for us to ship stuff to the store, whichever that one is. Let's find out where we need to go. Milk. We got 10,000, so we got 2 loads here. And again, Maypole Exports is the best place to go. Pricing fluctuations. Actually, it's a good month to sell stuff. There we go. Don't need the flammable label on the back of a milk truck. So yeah, we are going to need a bigger tanker at some point. Probably not using semi-trucks on this map because of how narrow the roads are. But you never know, we might end up doing so. I know the big semi-truck tanker does not carry a full load of milk. So it's not that beneficial using it, but still. And of course the other thing, Maize Plus increases the production of manure, slurry and milk. So if we do that, add that to this save, we are going to need bigger stuff for milk and manure. We'll probably start manuring our fields and probably need to make some provision for selling manure and slurry to the BGA. Do not overtake on a blind bend. So actually that trip, whoa, didn't take quite as long as I thought it might. But using this setup was cheap and sufficient for now. Obviously, as the farm grows, we're going to outgrow this quite quickly. May still keep. I might see if we can find a semi truck with a box on the back that has some modicum of auto load, and we may switch to that as the farm grows bigger. Obviously we're never going to produce, actually, the rate we're producing stuff at the moment, we get about 2 crates of bread per month, 14 crates of flour a month. But really, so long as we are keeping the bakery supplied, we don't have to move all of the flour unless the flour mill gets filled, in which case we need to move some flour to allow production to continue. And tomatoes, we get about 6 to 8 pallets a month. So again, not something we really need a bigger piece of equipment for. So this TLX with the box may be sufficient for the majority of our stuff. And if things get too hectic at the flour mill, we can always turn it to distribute, and that will send the flour off to the bakery. And Obviously, I don't need to then do that leg of the transfer. What we could do is just park a truck at the flour mill and stick it on distribute and just say that truck's being used by the people who work there to ship the flour down to our bakery, so it's all an in-house job. We just need to provide the equipment to do it. It's one of the things I've done in the past when I'm using an auto-load trailer. It's because, you know, I can't have, the game doesn't allow me to have workers loading pallets onto the bow, bales onto the back of a flatbed. So we need to find the easiest way around that. I mean, really my preference is to use the with the bale stackers or bale collectors. In my mind, a bale collector is better because it doesn't stack the bales 20 feet high, and the issues we have is that our barns are only 10 foot high. So I think I do have the Anderson square bale collectors as well, which unload flat rather than vertical. So if we ever migrate to square bales, and I don't see a problem with that, we just don't have the vehicles to run it at the moment. The little round baler we have can be pulled by a Massey Ferguson. Once we get into big mowing kit and big tractors to haul the mowing kit with, we're going to be looking at, well, maybe we can do square bales now, and again we'll square bale with a bigger tractor. I think someone was saying to see, and that brings us on to the new free equipment that we got this month is the Valtra pack. We got the A, the N, and the N does not include narrow tyres, I noticed. So it's not a brilliant starter tractor because you can't do everything in it. The T and the new Valtra Q. The Valtra Q is just over 300 horsepower maximum. We didn't get the S, and the S is the big, heavy, high horsepower thing that can run the full biggest mowing kits. The Q cannot. In fact, the Q does not quite have enough power to run most of the basic single front butterfly rear mower sets. But apparently the Kubota, which is produced at the same factory as Kverneland Vicon, doesn't require as much horsepower as the Vicon mower does. So you can run that on the Q. Would have been nice to have the S available, but let's see what am I saying here. So mowers. Okay, here's the Vicon. This is 82 horsepower, same as that. That's 240. That's only 200, so 282 to run that set. Functionally, those are identical. You've got the thing on the back. So that's the windrower. Without the windrower, it only needs 40. With the it needs 240, and then that's the Kverneland model. Okay, I'm guessing if we go in here, we'll find the same thing. This, oh no, this is 180 base and 20 more with the windrower thing. Ah, so yes, this is possibly the better choice because it's a lower horsepower requirement, and then we can run it on probably a large tractor. Ultra Q. As a matter of interest, how much is that? That's 230. Okay. It's horsepower 260. Is the Valtro Q a medium? Okay, there's the T, which goes up to 271. Not quite enough. And then the Q should be down here somewhere. Somewhere. Q. There. That goes up to 305. So you could run the Kverneland, not the Kverneland, the Kubota mower set on this thing, fully spec'd out. And that might, you know, that might be an option. But we'll have to see about that. Or we go to our good old Steadfast Class 900 series, which can haul a boatload of stuff and it doesn't matter what horsepower rating is. Don't know if I'll go with the 900 this season, or this series. I might consider the 900 tracked edition. Although that said, I think Smetty created the 800 from the early 2010s, 20 aughts. So I might look at an 800 at some point. The old one. Okay, so we are done transferring milk. 41,000. That's a goodly amount of money. And what we might do now, all of our fields are done except planting 50, I think it is. 51. Now, one thing I have heard is if you get a seeder that also fertilizes, do not turn on or do not use crop sensors to apply the fertilizer. And the reason is because the crop sensors require crop to be sensed. And since you're planting seeds in the ground, there's nothing to be sensed. So the crop sensors don't work properly, and you can end up with a bad application of either seed and or fertilizer. I can't remember the entire details of it. So what you need to do is you can plant the seed with fertilizer, which will obviously auto apply, so you get a good application. It's just that you don't get the perfect environmental score because you're not using crop sensors. But then you can go back with a liquid sprayer once the crop's grown and respray the crop with the crop sensors on, at which point you probably won't need much of in the way of liquid fertilizer added because the crop is close but not perfect. And then, okay, are we good with that? We did tomatoes, we did flour, we did bread, we did milk. Everything sold. Engine is off. We can jump out.